The cheat sheet is probably the first place that you should start every single week in terms of research. It's just all of the most vital information all in one spot. And there's a lot of different things going on here. So let me just walk you through this real quick. On the far left-hand side, that's your fantasy data. That's where you've got your player's name, your salary, the projected ownership, which usually comes in starting on Tuesday and then gets updated throughout the week, the projected fantasy points, and how many fantasy points each golfer has gained to the field. That is calculated in the same way that strokes gained is. So if the average fantasy points for a week is 60 and a golfer scores 80, they gained 20 fantasy points to the field that week. The next section, those are your strokes gained metrics, off the tee, approach, around the green, putting, tee to green, and total, and then also distance gained and fairways gained. Now, this is representative of the number of rounds that you choose, so you can adjust these in the upper right-hand corner if you want to see a smaller sample size or a larger sample size. That is available to you. You just plug in how many rounds you would like to see. The recent form, this is the finishing position based on each tournament. So you can see the BMW Championship, the most recent tournament on the left, the further away tournaments to the right. The finishing position, for example, Patrick Cantlay won the BMW Championship. And then the tournament history is loaded here. So each of the last 5 years, if available. This is not necessarily course history. This is tournament history. So if there is an event like the U.S. Open in which the course changes every year, you will still see results in these columns. They will just be based on the tournament unless otherwise noted. That's the main part of it, but there's a couple of new additions and things that you can sort and filter. Obviously, each one of these columns at the top, each one of these stats is sortable, both ascending and descending, just by clicking on the column header. You can download this data, this table here, if you want to manipulate it, if you want to plug it into a model, if you want to do really whatever you want with it, that's available. Or you could sort by salary range if you only want to look at the golfers, let's say in the $8,000 range, and then be able to sort those by, hey, who's been the best over the last 50 rounds. That is an option for you to try to make the research process a little bit easier. And then the newest additions are these two little toggles here, one next to metrics and one next to recent form. So the metrics that you're looking at by default are the just raw strokes gain metrics that are sent over from the PGA Tour. That's the official data. I'm not manipulating it in any way. If you click weighted, so for example, watch Scotty Scheffler's strokes gain total, 1.85. That's gonna change. So if we click weighted, Scotty Scheffler goes to weighted strokes gain total of 0.28. Now, I've described this before, but the weighted strokes gain metrics, that is me manipulating the data. That is me taking into account the strength of field and a variety of other factors. For example, if you gain 2 strokes to the field at the Honda Classic, that's fine, but you should get a better score, or you should be rewarded more if you gain 2 strokes to the field at the U.S. Open, a much more difficult field. So that's the idea here. So that's why Scotty Scheffler raw strokes gained is actually not as good as his weighted strokes gained, because think of his wins. His wins were in big, where he played the best was some of the biggest events of the year. He won the Masters, the Match Play, the Arnold Palmer Invitational, Phoenix. He played well at the BMW Championship, a playoff event. So it would make sense that his strokes gain total, his weighted strokes gain total, would be higher than his raw strokes gain total. And that's important because this, along with all the other tools on RickRunGood.com, are tapping into all tours: European Tour, Korn Ferry Tour, Champions Tour, Live Golf, Asian Tour. It's tapping into everything. So that also allows us to compare events on the PGA Tour to events on the Korn Ferry Tour, or events in Live Golf, or events on the Asian Tour, or whatever else. You should not be given the same raw strokes gain metrics everywhere. So the weighted allows you to get a little bit of a better picture. That kind of leads me into this global tab over here. So the default has always been to show the last 8 or so PGA Tour events. And that's great. And that works most of the time. But remember, I mean, these guys are playing tours all over the world. They're not just playing on the PGA Tour. So what I've opted to do is allow you to toggle to a global view. Now, the global view just says what were the results the last time they played. 1 start ago, 1 week ago. And then 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, or really it should be 3 starts ago, 4 starts ago, 5 starts ago. So you shouldn't see any gaps in this global view. This allows you you lose the context of if a player took any weeks off, right? So Tony Finau, he went back-to-back wins, then he took a week off, then he went and finished 5th. If you look at the global, you lose that context of the week off, but you get more results here, which is, a little trade-off. And also, this is going to show you everything across the globe. And if you just hover over each player, you'll see the list of events that they've played at. So 1 start ago for Scotty Scheffler, as I record this, was the BMW Championship, then the FedEx St. Jude. So there's a little bit of a key here that pops up when you are when you're in the global view, that you can kind of hover and see what event each one of these results is referencing. And you'll be able to say, oh, okay, that was a European Tour event. That was a Corn Ferry Tour event. That was whatever. It'll allow you to see all of that. So this is a handy view as well, especially when you get guys who are playing globally, playing across different tours, and being able to accurately compare them. That's basically it. It's a lot of data all in one spot that you can manipulate and view in a couple of different ways. It's where I start my research process every single week. I'm constantly going back and forth from the cheat sheet to other tools. But yeah, this is to me a major improvement. I hope you enjoy it.